Hey everyone, this is Daniel with fitnessbuilder.com, and today we're going to be doing a strength training mass building routine. So we're going to be doing 8 repetitions of each of these exercises. We've got 6 different exercises to go through and 3 groups. So it's going to be in groups of 2 exercises apiece in an AB format. We've got 3 sets per exercise, and we're going to be doing, like I said, 8 repetitions per exercise. So you're going to need some dumbbells for this, and you're definitely going to want to have something like a bench to do this. You can do it laying on the ground or seated in a seat. But a bench definitely comes in handy, so if you have one, definitely get that out. All right, so before we get this thing started, if you want to do a little bit of cardio warm-up, by all means, go ahead and do that. You want to keep it relatively light and under 15 minutes. Otherwise, we'll be starting into this routine in just a second. All right, so let's go ahead and get those arms warmed up just a little bit. So we're doing a really quick warm-up for those arms. So it's just going to be a nice, slow arm swing. In front, bring them across, and then stretch them back. Even if you've already done a warm-up, you'll want to do just a little extra for those arms just to make sure you've gotten all of those joints that we're going to be using, those muscles that we're going to be using, woken up, and as much range of motion out of them as you can. So just a little bit of an arm swing, nothing real huge, just kind of slowly work those arms back and forth, trying to get as much range of motion as you can. Just make sure when you cross in front, a different arm is on top each time. All right, we're gonna do arm circle next. So we're just one arm at a time, bring it up and over, stretch out back behind you, pause at the bottom, and back around the opposite direction. Keep that torso straight up and down. Try to get as much range of motion out of that shoulder as you can. Waking up those muscles, keep them contracted the entire time. Keep it under control. You don't want to just swing that arm around. You want to actually have a nice, slow, controlled motion. So again, pressing that arm to that full extent of that range of motion. All right, same thing on the other side. So switch arms, up and over, pause at the bottom, and bring it back. Again, nice full range of motion. Try to really warm that shoulder up. Squeezing back behind you nice and tight. And we're going to go to an arm extension next. We're going to be working on those biceps today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start down nice and low, hands curled back out as far away from your inside of that form as possible. And curl them in, crunch it up like you're doing a regular curl, but curl those hands in as well, and back out, full flex. Nice and slow, back in, curl those hands over as well, and back out. Just going to do this a few more times, then we're going to switch positions, but same exact motion. So really stretch it out, keeping that arm, that upper arm perfectly stationary, all that motion just coming from around that elbow. And one more, so straight up, that arm shoulder height, extend out, flex those hands down, in, and curl it in nice and tight, back out. We're just a couple more times. Last one. And let it relax. So we're going to warm up that torso just a little bit. Keep those hips straight up and down. We want to get those core muscles woken up a little bit. So crown that back, round that back over forward, crunch it forward, and then lift off to the side. Stretch the back, off to the other side. Down, pause in the front, and back the opposite direction. So keep those core muscles nice and tight. One more back around. And get those feet moving. We're going to a boxer shuffle just for a second, just to start kind of pushing more of that blood around. Try to get that heart rate up a little bit higher if you haven't done any cardio to begin with. So we're going to be doing this routine back and biceps today. So we're going to be focusing on just the primarily the rhomboid and lats a little bit, but primarily rhomboid, as well as your biceps. The dumbbells we're going to be using every single exercise for. So make sure you have a good set, a wide range of weights. So you want to make sure you're challenging yourself on this one, lifting as much weight as you can for every single repetition. We're only going to be doing 8, so you should be able to lift a relatively heavy amount of weight. That number 7 and number 8 repetition on each of these exercises should be very difficult to finish. So make sure you adjust your weight accordingly for that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, which is going to be a kneeling close row. So we only need one dumbbell at a time for this. So I'm going to start off with 30 pounds, kneeling down, If you don't have a bench, you can just do this seated or using a regular chair. It just makes it a little bit more awkward, or off of a coffee table if you have one that's really nice and sturdy. Otherwise, a bench is always preferable. So we're doing a close row, like I said, kind of in a tripod position. You're going to pull that elbow up and back behind you as tight as you can until that dumbbell hits that chest, or you can't go up any higher. Nice and slow back down. You want to keep that chest completely flat towards the ground. You don't want to let your shoulder drop down or rotate your chest open. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Halfway. One more. And let that relax. We're going to switch sides. So same exact motion, we're just using the opposite arm. So that leg out to the side again. It's wherever's comfortable. Help you keep that balance. Shoulders flat against the ground and squeeze it up nice and tight. Keep those lungs open. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Make sure you're not jerking that weight up. No momentum here whatsoever. Three more. Keep that elbow tucked in nice and close to your side for this close row. Just one more. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and set that dumbbell up. All right, we're moving on to our next one, which is going to be a bicep curl. So this is just a traditional bicep curl, palms facing up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to be using 25 pounds per hand on this one. So stand up nice and straight and tall, chest kind of pushed out just a little bit. Keep that upper arm perfectly straight up and down, so elbow directly underneath your shoulder. Curl that hand up, tight squeeze at the top, slowly back down. Keep that muscle contracted. Keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. Make sure when you're doing this, especially as those arms start getting tired, you keep those elbows directly underneath that shoulder. Don't let them lean forward. They're going to want to pull forward because it makes it easier. And you'll notice probably down at the gym, a lot of guys let that elbow kick forward. But keep it pulled back nice and tight. Almost done. And that's our last one right there. Go ahead and let it relax. All right, that's set number one for these first two exercises. We're gonna start it back over. Same thing, that close row. So I'm gonna use a little bit more weight than I did last time. That didn't feel quite heavy enough. So, again, just one dumbbell at first. Nice close row, squeezing up to the side. So I'm using 40 pounds this time. Try to get that shoulder into it. You're not rotating your shoulders, you're just letting that shoulder relax forward and then squeezing it back as you pull that arm in. You actually almost want to make this a two-stage exercise. So you're doing your shoulder first, then your arm as you pull that elbow back. Just three more. One left. And let it relax. All right. Again, same thing on the other side. So go ahead and switch those arms. And start again. Nice slow controlled motion, squeezing it up. Remember, try to split that motion into two distinct motions. So shoulder first, let it stretch, squeeze back, then pull up. 3 more. And let it relax. All right, set 2 of those is done, which means we're moving back to our curl. Grab those dumbbells. Again, using 25 pounds for this. Nice flat back, upper arm straight down, and start up. Squeeze it up nice and tight. Pull that hand in as close to that shoulder as possible. Again, without letting that elbow kick forward. So arms are already starting to get a little bit tired. These last few repetitions are going to be a little bit dirtier. That's the point though. You're trying to challenge yourself to keep everything nice and solid. So if you notice that last pull up, I had to actually kind of sling up a little bit, which is fine, but you want to lock those elbows back, drop it nice and slow. Do a negative to get a little extra work out of it. Pull those elbows back, drop it slow. One more. Pull those elbows back, drop it as slow as you can, and let it relax. Okay, we're going back to that row one more time. I guess I don't need to set both weights, I'm only using one. So again, tripod position, using the same amount of weight as I did last time, so 40 pounds. Nice flat back. Let that shoulder droop a little bit, squeeze it back, and then pull that arm in. Keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Especially with these really heavy lifts, your body's going to want to tend to hold your breath. Keep those lungs open. It's halfway. One more. And let it relax. All right, same thing on the other side. Let that shoulder droop, flat back, squeeze that shoulder back, then pull that arm in. Keep those lungs open. Almost done. One more. And let that one relax. Whew. All right, one more round. That bicep curl. Since I was having so much trouble finishing off those repetitions on that last round, I'm going to drop my weight a little bit. It's all about keeping clean form rather than just sheer amount of weight. So if you ever start getting too bad a form, or your form starts suffering too much on any given round, just make it a little bit lighter for the next one to try to correct that form again. So regular curl, nice flat back, arms straight up and down, curl it in, back down nice and slow. So you're gonna notice that these exercises use the same muscle groups over and over again, so that bicep is gonna be really tired by the time we're done. Just keep them going. As soon as that form starts to suffer, start getting up however you need to. Pull those elbows back, let it down nice and slow. And this is gonna be my last one. Nice and slow down. And let it relax. All right. Go ahead and hit pause here if you need a little extra rest. When you're doing these types of heavy lifting type exercises, you want to give yourself actually a pretty decent gap between sets. So up to 4 to 5 minutes in between sets is perfectly fine. I'm not going to take quite that long. But you can hit pause and take as long as you need. So we'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and get ready for group number 2. This one is going to be, again, a back and bicep exercise. We're going to be doing a reverse fly for our back exercise and a hammer curl for our bicep exercise. So reverse flies are relatively difficult to do, especially now if you're probably already tired from doing your 3 sets of the other one. So make sure you pick a relatively light weight. Again, form is everything. So nice flat back, slight bend in your knees. You're going to drop over as far as is comfortable to the ground. And those arms are come up and out to the side. So try to keep those arms as straight as you can. Slowly back down and right back up again. Keep those lungs open. It's halfway. Two more. And let it relax. Go ahead and drop those weights down. Go ahead and get set up for that hammer curl. So palms facing in. Drop that weight just a little bit. All right, so hammer curl is next. Again, straight up and down. Same exact form as a regular curl, just palms facing in towards each other rather than facing up. So nice flat back. Arm straight up and down, pull that hand up as tight to that shoulder as you can. Keep those elbows pulled back rather than letting them kick forward. Nice and slow back down and back up again. Make sure everything's nice and slow and deliberate. Two more. Last one, tight squeeze. And let it relax. All right, dropping back down. All right, give those arms a break for just a second. We're going right back into that reverse fly. So again, nice light weight, whatever you can control. Slight bend in those knees, nice flat back. And start up. Up and out to the sides as high as you can, nice and slow back down. If you need to, if you start feeling like your range of motion is starting to suffer, get a little bit of a pop, a little bit of momentum built into it, and try to freeze at the top and drop nice and slow, so that negative again. One more. And let it relax. All right, set that back up. Going back to that curl, that hammer curl. So select that weight for that. Let everything relax. Again, upper arm perfectly straight up and down. It's gonna get more and more important to focus on that as these arms get more and more tired. So straight up and down, nice and slow, palms facing in, curl that hand up, tight squeeze, right back down. Take your time, focus on that form. Halfway. Two more. Last one. Nice and slow down. And let it relax. Okay. One more of each. Going back again for that reverse fly. So pick whichever weight you need to. If you're starting to get a little bit, the form's starting to get a little bit nasty towards the end there, you can always drop that weight a little bit. I'm going to try to use the same weight one more time through. This is actually just 10 pounds. Those reverse flies are terrible as far as being difficult to get through with clean form. So nice flat back. Last round, make it count. Bring it up, nice and slow down. That's halfway right there. Make sure you're dropping it nice and slow. Two more. And let it relax. All right. One more round of that curl. All right, last round of that hammer curl. Nice flat back. Stand straight up and down, nice and tall. Elbow directly into that shoulder, and start them up. Curl that hand up, palms facing in. Just focus on that form. Keep those lungs open. Keep those elbows back. Three more. Remember, if that form starts to slide, get those hands up there. It's okay if you cheat a little bit. Pull those elbows back, drop slow. Last one. And let it relax. All right. Drop those weights. Give yourself a little bit of a break. Again, like I said, 4 to 5 minutes max. Try to get it lower if you can, as long as those arms are ready to start in again. We have one more group to go through. All right, go ahead and hit pause. I'll be back in just a second. Hi everybody, let's go ahead and get finished with our last group here. This is going to be the last one of this routine, then we're going to go through a little bit of a cool down. For this one we have a bent over ventral raise and we have a overhand curl. So the bent over ventral raise looks very similar to a fly, but instead of coming out to the side, you're actually coming up forward. This works a little bit more on the shoulder, but also gets into that upper back as well. So we're hitting that upper back again. And then that overhand curl is ridiculously difficult, so make sure you use a really light amount of weight for that one. So I'm going to actually be starting off really light for that ventral raise, partially because I want to make sure I protect my back while doing this, and partially because it's just a really difficult exercise. So same position, slight bend in your knee, flat back, tip over as far forward as you can, as parallel to the ground as possible, and then you bring those arms straight up above that head and back down. Just keep that position nice and solid. Same exact thing, you want to make sure you have control over that motion. Slowly up, slowly back down. Take your time, keep those lungs open. It's halfway. One more. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and drop that weight. I'm gonna try these overhand curls a little bit more. I'm just gonna be using 10 pounds here. It's actually not much. But the key with this one is trying to keep your palm rotated over towards the ground as much as you can. You're gonna have a tendency to want to kick your elbows out to the side, keep them pinned as close to your body as you can. So, again, straight up and down, just like a regular curl. The only difference is when you come up, as soon as those hands clear those thighs, those palms rotate over, facing back down towards those thighs. So, start them up nice and slow. Curl them up as high as you can. You're gonna try to open up on you a little bit at the top, that's fine, but try to keep them rotated over as much as you can. Then back down. Keep that elbow straight up and down again. Right underneath that shoulder. It's halfway. Just keep it going. It's 2 more. Last one. And let it relax. All right. First set always feels a little bit easier. They're about to get a lot harder. So, going into that ventral raise again. So nice flat back, slight bend in those knees. Tip over as parallel to the ground as you can. And straight up. Slowly back down. Right back up again. Keep those lungs open. That's halfway. There's 2 more. Last one. And let it relax. All right, drop those weights. Bump that weight up again to that overhand curl, or move up to whatever weight you were using. All right, nice flat back. Again, try to keep those palms facing down towards the ground as best you can the entire time. Elbows straight down underneath those shoulders and start them up. Hand over, curl it up, back down, nice and slow. So this is a very awkward position for your arm to be in. At least it's not common. Though your arm can go in this position, obviously. It's not commonly used. Your body likes to have that palm facing up when it's doing any kind of curl motion. It's 5, just keep them going. So your body's gonna have a really hard time with this motion as far as strength goes, which is why we're training it right now. 1 more. And let it relax. All right, drop that weight. Doing our last round of each one of these exercises. So 1 more of those ventral raises. Grab those dumbbells, let those arms relax for just a second. Slight bend in that knee, nice flat back. Tip over and start them up. Keep that motion slow. Try to keep those arms as straight as you can. Not locked out, but just straight. Two more. And let it relax. All right, 1 more round of that curl. Okay, so our last strength exercise. Try to get as much of a squeeze out of this as possible. Really burn those muscles out. Elbow directly into that shoulder. Palms facing down towards those thighs. And start them up. Tight squeeze at the top. Keep those shoulders up. Try not to round your shoulders forward to meet your hands. 2 more. Last one, nice and slow. Squeeze as high as you can. Tight squeeze the top, slowly back down. And let it relax. All right, we're gonna go straight into our cool down. This is not gonna be too much cardio. This is just stretching out those arms. So we wanna hit those muscles that we really focus on today, which is primarily your back and your biceps. So there's not gonna be a lot here. So grab that arm across that elbow, pull across in front of your body. You should feel it stretch across that shoulder blade, that upper back. Just hold it, breathing normally. Try to get as close to your throat as you can across the upper part of those shoulders, pulling across constantly with that other arm. Just breathe normally, try to let it relax. Switch sides. Grab that elbow on the other side, pull across. Again, nice and high up, right across the top of those shoulders. Try to pull that shoulder across in front of you while trying to push that other shoulder in. Just breathe normally. Again, let it relax. And let that release. We want to get through your bicep next, so we want to try to flex that hand out as much as we can. So we're going to do what would normally be a chest stretch, but we're going to try to keep that arm facing down. So if you have an open wall, go ahead and grab a wall. Fingers facing back behind you. You're going to rotate that arm so that inside of that elbow is facing straight forward, and then rotate away from it. You should feel it jump into that bicep quite a bit. If you want to get a little bit more forearm, just walk back on it a little bit. You should feel that hand flex a little bit more. So just keep rotating it out. Try to get that bicep in there as much as you can. Same thing on the other side. Flip around, hands facing behind you, or fingers facing behind you. Rotate open. And again, if you want more flex on that forearm, stretch that forearm a little bit more. Just step back sideways. Again, trying to get it in that bicep, so keep the inside of that elbow facing forward. Hold just a little bit longer. And let that release. All right, we're just gonna do a couple more. Just a nice big circle on that arm. Starting with that right side, pause at the bottom, back around. Back the opposite direction. Don't pull this in quite so tight as you would with a warm-up. You're just kind of like letting it release a little bit, letting those muscles limber up, get that blood to kind of go out of that muscle tissue a little bit. Same thing on the other side. Up and over, pause at the bottom, back around the opposite direction. Just a few more. And let that relax. All right, this workout is done. If you want to switch off onto a little bit of a light cardio cool down, by all means do that. Keep it under about 15 minutes. You don't want to use a bunch of your energy up doing that if you're trying to build size. If you're trying to build size, you actually want to do a relatively small amount of cardio, so keep it relatively light. If you're really focusing on trying to put on as much mass as possible, skip the cardio completely for your cool down. Just do a little bit more stretching. All right, so other than that, this workout is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.